Okay, we got a phone call. I didn't have my phone shut off. Is that recording it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. If you want to know why it cut off all of a sudden, I had a phone call and we had to start over. So now, here's another isolated platform. And we're talking about an isolated platform. But said we was going to do it in 2 or 3 parts anyway. So maybe that'll help you understand. I had no idea the phone call. Now, this isolated platform needs to be turned up. So I'm hitting kind of straight down and straight out this way. I'm going to turn it up so I can remove something on this side. Now, you see how it's isolated? If I miss, I'm not going to hit anything but where that's at. Don't do any damage if I miss, that's what I meant to say. And that's the way you work an isolated platform. Here's another natural one here. I'm going to kind of clean it up a little bit. And that one's isolated. So I'm going to strike right here on it. And that's isolated. Now, the other way to isolate them is when you get them real thin, you get them real thin like this, I want to pressure flake it. I want to make sure it's perfect. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to kind of go straight down this way. I'm going to, like scooping ice cream, I'm going to start bending my wrist because I don't want these pressure flakes to run far at all. I just want to dig in and isolate it. I'm coming on down here to the point that's not necessary, but I'm going to have to do it later on, so I'm going to do it now. Then I'm going to come back this way. And I got it isolated. Now, grinding your platforms is real important too. I've left that out. You always want to grind them, don't leave them sharp. You want a blunt edge because they let the shot run through your stone. So here is my isolated platform. It's right there. Also, this one there is not too isolated, but this is the one I set up. So when I come down, this is what happened. This is the result. Look how good that ran through there because it was an isolated platform. Now, I got another one over here. Oh! Everything's going wrong. We might as well call in the dogs and be on the fire and say the hunt's over with. Not really, I'm used to this. But what I was saying, I've got another one right here. It's not that great, but I'm just going to barely go into it like that. And that chip went halfway across. So that's the way you isolate your platform, by pressure flaking. Now, let's go over this one more time because somebody got a phone call and stopped the video right in the middle of everything. And we're going to do a quick rerun of what we were talking about. We're talking about a platform. We're talking about a straight edge like this. I'm going to draw this straight edge. All my chalk went on the ground when it fell. I'm going to draw my straight edge like this. Well, this chalk don't want to write on the board. I don't know what's wrong with it. Like this. But I'm going to make it this wide. So this is your imaginary line running right through the center of your rock. And what I meant by imaginary line, I took this piece a while ago and took the chalk and I figured me imaginary line. You want to strike below that line, that center line. So if this edge was like this, and if you can see, let me find something real thin, see if I can point this out. If you can see right there would be this spot here. It's below that center line. So let's just say this is the top. So I want to strike here, I want to strike here, maybe there, strike here, strike here, strike here. So we're looking at these are the places you want to strike if you just want to use it naturally like it is, because it's below the center line. And this is what's called platform. Some people call it nipples. And that's the way you do it. Now, to make a nipple, remember, you got a plate glass window. Here's the glass, and you hit it with a BB, and on the inside you're gonna fill a hole in it. It's called a cone fracture, and that's the way it breaks. So if you're sitting here and you got an edge like this, and it's wavy like this is a natural center line, and this is below it. All of these are below it right here. And you strike with that BB right here, straight down. This is all the material that's going to remove is right there. If you strike with that BB on this angle, it's going to come like this, and you're going to move this much more material. You're going to thin it that much more. So the way I look at it is like this. I take this right here, and I've got me an edge. Let's run it this way, like this. And I strike, and say it's rounded here. I'm gonna wipe this off real quick and redo it up here. I'm trying to figure out how I illustrated it, the video that the phone hit us on, okay? We're gonna do it like this. Okay, this is a natural rock. So if I strike straight down right here on this corner, let's see what's gonna happen. I come straight down, all right, I'm following this cone, only that much is coming off. This is what I'm losing right here. So if I want to take more off, I change my angle and strike like this. This is the angle, and this much is coming off. I mean, I lost like an inch and a quarter and half an inch up there. So let's say we're on this rounded end, and you strike this way, coming in like this, you're only gonna take this much off. Now when you take that much off, I'm gonna erase that. You got a good platform to hit this way. So we want to start thinning it, and if we hit like this, we're gonna run it like this, and we're removing all of this. That's how you thin a preform like that. Now, watch the first video, even though it stopped, and I'll put on there what happened when I run it on YouTube, and it's a better explanation of all of this. So now what we're gonna do, pressure flaking works the same way. I have people tell me, well, I can't run pressure flakes very far. Well, you can't run pressure flakes very far. The same reason you can't knock them off percussion very far is because you're using the wrong angle. You're holding it wrong in your hand. You're changing the angle with your hand. And I'm making a continuous platform. I talked about that in the first video. We're gonna call this the second video. And I'm going all the way down this edge, and I'm pushing in and rolling my hand out, pushing in and rolling my hand out. Now I'm gonna grind it and hope you can see that it's a continuous platform, and you can see, I'm gonna grind the top there, how it's going that way. This is a good example right here going that way. So everything's on this side of the center line. Nothing's isolated, it's continuous platform. Now, if I put this pad right here on my hand and I don't change, I can change angles with my hand, just like in the first video where your legs around and you change angles. So I want to leave this the same angle every time. So if I come in here like this, I'm gonna take 2 or 3 of them off. I don't know if it's gonna show up. But anyway, I only took like a 1/16 off of that edge. It barely took a little bit off. Now why was that? Because of the angle. I went this way, and this is the angle I got. So with it sitting here, I come this way, straight across and run my hand down. Now, I'm gonna do this here. I'm gonna change the angle, and I'm gonna go in a little more this direction. Now don't look at my arm this way, just look the way that tip, I'm gonna pull that tip right there and run the angle. Okay, this one went all the way down to there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chalk this in and see how far they're running on here. So now, once you got what's going, you come off the edge of it, and that cone's gonna follow that edge. And this one went down to there. See the chalk missing? And we're gonna move down to the next one. I need to grind it a little better. Always check for you, make sure it's not a sharp edge. You got a good grind on it. All right, that one went across. There's a white spot in that material, and it went through it. All right, let's look at this one. I'm flipping off of it. I didn't have it sharp enough, ground enough. That one went right there. Now, I'm gonna turn it up a little more. I'm gonna say what I meant to say. I didn't have it rolled over enough, and it was rounded and it was sliding off. So now I rolled it over more. I put it on this side of the center line like my thumb. I rolled it over more. So now we're gonna come in here. I gotta be careful because I don't want to take the other side off. So I can't put as much pressure on here. And I'm probably gonna chip straight down right here on the point because I don't want to run without a 16th. All that chalk's gone. So let's go back and do this side. We'll come here. I'm going straight across. You can even actually put it on top and just shove it like that. I like to angle it like this. Just put it on there and shove across and break that edge off. Some people have a piece of hollow copper. Watch me knock my board over. I take a hollow copper tubing, beat it flat, and stick it right there, and I just roll it all the way down. That'll turn the edge real quick. You see how that edge is going this way? That'll turn it real quick. Now, I'm gonna, there's a couple spots here I didn't hit on it with the copper. Need to turn it a little better. Now, I got a continuous edge again. So I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna run some little bitty flakes with short angles because it's on the tip. You always want it to go at least halfway. I like mine to go a little over halfway in case the one on the other side, I get yellow wrist on it and it don't run as far. All right, now I'm gonna chalk this up. This is the ridge right here. So when this come off like this, it left loops in here, just like this. And this is that ridge that this is gonna run on. So when I said the flakes will run longer once you get started, because they're following the next ridge, your flakes want to follow the high spot. All right, now, I'm gonna isolate this one. This is the way you isolate pressure flaking. If you see it right there, it's isolated. You want them to run further or whatever, isolate them. That one went almost all, in fact, I think it went all the way across. It went right through there like that. That's where that one went. And it was isolated. Now, I'm gonna come down here and isolate another one. And find the ridge. Now I need to run it off of. See how narrow that is? As you wear your grinders down, you need little narrow spots to get in between these little valleys. Like you got the little valleys like this, it gets in between them. And a lot of people call those your deltas. All right, I'm gonna start right here on this one, this little isolated platform. Run that flake, do the next one. I'd already had 2 isolated. Now it left 3 isolated. I had 2, but that would come off enough. Isolated the 3rd one. I'm gonna roll the edge up a little on this. When I say roll it up, I mean bring it up. It's kind of rounded. It's not a good enough platform. Not a good enough angle. Grind it down. Now, I'm gonna isolate it. Right there, right there. I got two of them isolated. See if you can see the two. One there and one there. And I grind them because they might have got them a little sharp when I was flaking down beside them. All right, I moved that one a little more to isolate this one a little less. That's great, that did good. That one did good. And you're starting to get a pattern. You come over and do the other side. Now, the way I do this on the other side, we got a high area right here, a little area there, a high area right there, and a high area right there. This is high, low, high, low. So I'm not going to do a continuous platform. I'm just going to take the high spots off. I'm not even going to chip nothing off where it's low. So I'm setting me some platforms up here where it's low. And I'm kind of lightly isolating them. I'm leaving a little zigzag. So I sit right here. And I roll my wrist down real quick because I don't want to run too far on the tip. If you push straight in on it, it'll take the whole tip off. You lose a quarter of an inch of the length of your point. Now I'm skipping all of this. I'm going up here and I'm going to isolate this one. You got to use this little sharp edge getting here to dull it. All right, that one's isolated. There we go. Now come off that one, it's isolated. It's already ground, and then I'll get this one down here, it's isolated. Come off that edge. So that took all the high area out. Now you got to come across this way to get the high spots out. So when we're looking at it, it's not high all the way across, it's high like just halfway. And these are the areas, you got two areas, the middle's okay. So when we come down here on the point end, you gotta be careful on the point end, you don't want to break it off. So I'm lightly chipping it straight across, so I'm turning that edge up. Don't come down there on the base end, lightly chip it. So I'm turning this base up. Now I'm gonna grind it. And no further than chipping, I'm not going to isolate this one. I'm just going to do it continuously because it don't have to run very far. Because we're on the point. Now all of that's thin across there. This is the high areas left. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to set two little isolated platforms up. And there they are, 1, 2. I'm gonna grind them with that little sharp edge, getting them grind them good. I'm coming in and hit this first one. Come in and hit the second one. Now I'm gonna come down here and straighten this edge up, that's all I'm doing. That's a pretty flat point right there. It's got a little convexity. All right, we're gonna stop this. We're gonna start the third part.